Would you like to hear a horror story? I've got one based on true events that's sure to give you goosebumps. This tale revolves around a house with a dark and sinister past, located at 112 Ocean Avenue in Amityville on the south shore of Long Island, New York. The terrifying events that took place inside that house would never be forgotten, haunting the people who lived there and leaving a dark stain on Amityville's history. The tragic tale of the DeFeos. It all started in 1974 when the DeFeo family called the Amityville house their home. The family consisted of Ronald DeFeo Sr., his wife Louise, and their 5 children: Dawn, Allison, Mark, John, and Butch. Before we explore the terrifying events, let's first learn more about the DeFeo family and what they did in their daily lives. Ronald DeFeo Sr. The father and leader of the family held a position as an executive at a local car dealership where he took care of car sales and dealership operations. Louise DeFeo. Louise, Ronald's wife, played a crucial role in managing their home and taking care of their 5 children. She was a dedicated homemaker. Dawn DeFeo. The eldest of the DeFeo daughters, Dawn was a vibrant and outgoing teenager, often seen spending time with her friends and participating in school activities. Allison DeFeo. Allison DeFeo, known as Allie, was a young girl who enjoyed reading, puzzles, and watching TV. She went to St. Martin of Tours School. At the time, she was working on a puzzle of Eckernförde. Mark DeFeo and John DeFeo. Both Mark DeFeo and John DeFeo were students, with John being the youngest child. Butch DeFeo. Butch was the eldest son of the DeFeo family and received a prized position at his grandfather's car dealership with little to no expectations. He also earned a weekly stipend from his father, regardless of his attendance or job performance at work. They each had different jobs that showed how things were usual and ordinary before something really bad happened to them. Little did they know, on the evening of November 13th, 1974, Butch DeFeo entered Henry's Bar, a place he often visited, which was conveniently close to his house. However, this time, he wasn't there for fun. Instead, his voice trembled with fear as he urgently cried out,
"You've got to help me. I think my mother and father have been shot."
After hearing this, a small group of concerned people, led by Butch and his friend Joe Yeswit, who happened to be present in the bar, made their way to 112 Ocean Avenue. With each step, fear gripped them tightly. What awaited them inside would shatter their expectations and grip their souls with icy hands. Upon entering, their fears were confirmed as they discovered the DeFeo parents, once radiant with life, now lifeless. In this haunting moment, Butch's friend Joe Yeswit took charge. His trembling hands picked up the phone, and he dialed for help, his voice trembling with fear as he made an emergency call to the Suffolk County Police Department. Soon, the Suffolk County Police Department arrived, their flashing lights illuminating 112 Ocean Avenue in red and blue. In a neighborhood where not much bad stuff usually happens, it was surprising to see so many detectives, police officers, and medical examiners all gathered here. All the officials began their thorough investigation of the scene. Initially, they believed they were dealing with 2 bodies, but as time went on, they realized something even more terrible. There were not just 2 dead bodies, but 6 of them. Louise and Ronald DeFeo Sr. went through the horrifying experience of being shot twice each, while Dawn, Allison, Mark, and John had to deal with the terrifying situation of being shot once. The shock turned into deep sadness as investigators uncovered the dark details. It's important to note that they were all shot with the same weapon, a Marlin .35 caliber shotgun. Amityville, a quiet place, was forever changed by this tragic event. Questions arose. What could lead to such a terrible act in their own home? The answers would shake the community to its core. The family of 7 was now down to just one member, Butch. Initially, authorities rushed him to the local police station to keep him safe. Why? It was because of Butch's own surprising suggestion at the crime scene. He had raised the possibility that a mob hitman named Louis Fellini might be responsible for the killings. But later on, Butch's initial claim about Fellini began to crumble as investigators delved deeper into the matter. It turned out that Fellini had a rock-solid alibi, providing concrete evidence that he was indeed out of state when the tragic event unfolded. Furthermore, there was a distinct lack of evidence indicating any forced entry into the home. This raises a troubling idea. Maybe someone in the family could have been involved. A chilling set of circumstances added weight to this ominous theory. When Butch left home that fateful day, everything appeared to be normal. He even made a trip to his father's office, reassuring everyone that his father wouldn't be coming in that day. To reinforce this claim, he dialed his home number in front of office employees, emphasizing that it was a regular occurrence for someone to pick up the phone. However, despite his efforts, there was no response when Butch called home. Adding to the evidence, an empty box of Marlin .35 caliber ammunition was discovered in Butch's room. The most disturbing revelation, however, came from the autopsy results, which indicated that the murders had occurred during the early morning hours, somewhere between around 3 to 4 o'clock when Butch was, without a doubt, at home. All of these puzzle pieces eerily pointed toward Butch as the most likely culprit of the horrible acts. During an interview at the police station, investigators discovered significant inconsistencies in his account of events. The very next day, to everyone's surprise and fear, Butch admitted that he was the one who committed the horrifying murders. The tragic events surrounding the family's murder by Butch DeFeo have left several mysteries unanswered. All the family members shot by Butch were found lying on their stomachs in the same position. This might lead one to think they were somehow arranged before being killed. Despite the unusual positioning, autopsies revealed no signs of chemical poisoning or inappropriate conduct. It raises questions as to why none of the family members attempted to escape or run for safety upon hearing the sound of a shotgun being fired. A shotgun blast is extremely loud, reaching between 140 to 190 decibels and audible from a considerable distance, up to a mile away. Strangely, none of the neighbors reported hearing the 8 gunshots fired that night. The silence surrounding the gunshots adds another layer of mystery to the case. Adding to the enigma, there were no signs of defensive actions taken by the family. For example, Allison's puzzle next to her bed was arranged in such a way that even minor disturbances would have caused it to fall. Yet, it remained undisturbed. Considering the number of victims and the circumstances surrounding the murders, questions arise about whether Butch DeFeo could have carried out such a mass killing on his own. In a chilling confession, DeFeo admitted,
"Once I started, I just couldn't stop. It went so fast."
He disclosed disturbing details, like taking a bath, changing clothes, before resuming his normal routine. Butch DeFeo went a step further and drew a map, revealing where he had disposed critical evidence, including blood-stained clothes, the Marlin rifle, and cartridges. The reasons behind why Butch DeFeo committed his actions are still a mystery. We don't fully understand why he did what he did. The trial for Butch DeFeo began on October 14, 1975. His defense lawyer, William Weber, argued that Butch was not mentally well at the time of the murders. Butch claimed he killed his family because he thought he heard their voices planning to harm him. A psychiatrist supported this idea, saying Butch was not in his right mind. On the other side, the prosecution had their own psychiatrist. He argued that Butch didn't have a mental illness. He said Butch knew what he was doing when he committed the crimes. The judge called these murders one of the worst in Suffolk County's history. On November 21, 1975, Butch DeFeo was found guilty of 6 counts of second-degree murder and received 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life in prison, which means a total of 125 years behind bars. But hold on, the story doesn't end here. A year later, another family moved into the same house, fully aware of the gruesome murders that had occurred within its walls. Brace yourself as we delve into their experiences in the next chapter of this chilling story. Please remember to subscribe and hit that like button to keep my motivation going for the second episode. If you enjoyed this content and want more in the same style, your support means a lot. Until then, navigate life like a pioneer and excel in everything you do. Thank you.